Welcome to the MadHouse podcast, a safe place where we discuss the things that have been on our mind. So sit back, relax, as we dive deep down into the rabbit hole to see how far it goes. Hey, yo.
What's up, bro?
Feeling good, man. So it was funny, like as we were talking about from like thinking about like our last episode that we did
Yeah.
about motivation and stuff. And then like I said, you this time you have a good topic about like it's good to have that motivation, but sometimes you also have to have some patience in your life. And I think there's gonna be testing and trying times. So I already know what you gotta get into. So you might side tangent a little bit on some more sensitive topics, but we're gonna get it.
Sometimes you gotta reel me in a little bit.
We're gonna get it. So I know these get sensitive topics, but we're gonna get it.
Yeah.
So what's on your mind today, man?
Today I wanted to talk about patience. And I want to talk about it from a couple of different standpoints. As you know, like I went through my divorce and everything, and don't get me wrong, like she may end up be watching these one day. I'm not trying to shit talk you. I'm just telling the truth. I'm just telling my story from my side. So if you take offense to it, that's on you. I'm not trying to offend you. This is just a story from the way in which I am seeing it. Having said that, I like to think that I have an abundant amount of patience because of the situations that I've had to deal with.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy the company of a woman or women, whichever singular plural. I don't care. But with that company comes a level of patience that you have to have, because women, I love y'all, but y'all try patience like no other. I made a tweet not too long ago, and it was something to the effect of, what you're not gonna do is win an argument with a woman. She will not only start but win an argument with a wall, because at some point the wall will just give up. And I thought it was fun. I'm not a big Twitter person, but when I'm gonna start using it more just to get these little random thoughts of like tidbits of information. But I thought it was funny because like that was her. Like she'd be like 100% wrong, but 100% don't care. Like I don't care. Like I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong, but I'm not gonna give you the satisfaction to tell you that I'm wrong. And I'm like, but why? Like, I just want to move on. Like, it's not even a big deal to me. How are we here? But like, I thought it was funny because like literally the wall will give up. Like you will outlast that wall, and the wall doesn't talk at all. And because I've been through those situations, I've worked up a level of patience, not only with like my son, but like people in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, but it gets frustrating though. You know, like.
See, I've had those same interactions, like I said, with my ex. But I think it's like a combination of that and just being a military vet.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of whatever situation you gonna learn patience, because I don't know about the Army, but in the Marine Corps we have a saying. It's called "Hurry up and wait."
Oh, that's military universal.
Yeah.
That's a universal military. Everybody in any branch, you be reserves, and you be like, hurry up and wait. They probably know more than anybody else.
Yeah. So it's like, the whole hurry up and wait thing, you know, I didn't know about any other branches because obviously I didn't been in the branch, but I just know that was this is a Marine Corps thing. But obviously, you like you said, that's just a universal thing. So you develop a higher form of patience. So I think it's important because, man, do we need it sometimes? Because in dealing with not just significant others, kids, friends, family, I think that it's important that we think about cultivating a strong mental patience, right? Because you have to be able to deal with so many things in life and realize that everything is not going to go the way that you want it to go. And we see a version of the world that we want to be reality, and when that reality doesn't happen, we get upset and we have to sometimes take back and say, you know what, this isn't what I wanted or expected, but I'm not gonna fly off the deep end. Which I think that everyone, we have those moments where everyone falls short of that and we lose it. But I think that if we can cultivate that pot of like, okay, it's the patience pot. We cultivate, we make that thing grow. It's getting there, and like now we're gonna make sure that every so often, we take a little ladle and scoop a little bit so it never flows out. We're gonna take a little sip of the patience cup, but we don't ever let it fill out what, because it's important. Because I think that I myself had a situation this week where, like I said, like we talked about, like the motivation trying to do something for my son, but I was busy doing something, right? And I was trying to put something together, and my son, like, he wanted to draw his characters. I want to help him, but like he would draw one because he wants me to redraw it so he can color it or whatever, and so he always puts stuff in front of me. And I tell him, don't put things in front of me when I'm doing something. Because that's one of my pet peeves. Like, it agitates me. Like, if you're working,
I'm in the zone, bro.
Yeah, I'm working on something, and then you just come in front of me and put this in front of me. Like, I don't care what you're doing. Here, I want you to do this right now. I'm like, hey, son, okay, I'll do this in a little while, right? And then they're kids, right? You know what kids gonna do? He stands right there.
He's going, I'll wait.
He stands right there, and he's like giving me that eye, like that. I don't care what you're doing.
I'll stand here until you're ready.
I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna stare into your soul until you do what I want. And you go back to do what you're doing, but you can feel
side of your neck be burning like
it's hot.
Stop looking at me.
And so I got upset, and I was like, Pablo, when I'm ready, I'll do the picture. I'm busy right now, okay, bud? And then he hit me. He hit me with the baby face. He was like, "Okay, Dad." And he
away.
And I was like, and then I was like, I was like, son, stop, come back. I'm sorry. Come here. Let's do your work. I don't want to push you away.
Yeah.
I was like, but I lost my patience, right?
Yeah.
I was like doing something, and he's like basically nagging me, and I was like, "You are really testing my patience right now. I want you to just go away and come back later." Yeah. He's like, "I ain't having it," and so and I snapped. So I think it's good that it can happen with people in general. It's just people at work. It could be a coworker that in a similar situation can happen, but or
sometimes it's not how you say it. It's not what you say. It's kind of how you say it. And in that moment, I think you tried to get your point across. That, hey, I'm busy. I'll do it when I can. But maybe it didn't come out exactly like as soft as you maybe wanted it to come.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'll get. I'll do this when I can. Like, hey, man, I'm busy. Like, it just changes the trajectory. And then like as he's like slumming away, you're just like, okay, I should have handled. Not that what he did was okay. It's just I should have handled it a little bit better. I need to have a little bit more patience to kind of be like, okay, I'm not gonna push you away. I'm just gonna hold on a second, just step to the side real quick, and just handle it in a different way. But I think I know me personally, I have a tendency to try to Batman every situation. Like I game plan, like as things kind of occur during the day, I game plan it. I'm like, I have a whole scenario worked out in my head as to how I think this is gonna play out. And sometimes it goes that way because, like, sometimes people are predictable. Like, character indexes behavior. Like, people will do what they have, what they've always done. And, sometimes they deviate a little bit. But for the most part, people stay pretty consistent to who they are. Yeah. And there are just situations where, in my mind, this is the way that I see it going. And, like, so sometimes I'm good, like especially with my son's mom. I'm like Hannibal Lecter. Like I think it was like one of these episodes, like I said, like you were kind of like Hannibal from the A-Team. That's kind of how I am, because like with her, she's so very very predictable that like I can tell you what she's gonna do. I tell her what she's gonna do before she even do it. Like there's times where like she'll say she's gonna do something or she's whatever, and then like I'm like, hey, blah blah blah. She hasn't said nothing about like, hey, I know you're not gonna be able to do this, so I'll just I'll meet you here at this time. She's like, I didn't say I wasn't gonna be there. I was like, yeah, but we both know that you're not. And you're like, okay, well, let's just meet at 7 then. I'm like, okay, yeah. You didn't fight it because you already knew you were about to text me and be like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to. I'm like, you ain't even gotta do that. I had already up here. I had already planned for that because these experiences that we've had, I've had to work on that patience of like, you say you're gonna be here at this time. I'm here at this time. You not here until this time, and I'm like, now I'm upset. Now I'm mad. I can't get too mad because my son's watching me. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't want to like lash out at him because he ain't done nothing. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, you said 5:30. You know the military. 15 minutes early. If not, if you ain't 15 minutes early, you late. So now I'm upset because like now you messing with my time. Like this is time. Remember when you say 5:30. I'm gonna be there a little bit earlier because at 5:45 I'm doing something. I'm already somewhere else. Like I've made my schedule, my plan. So I game plan things and I try to set times, and I like to be kind of consistent with that. And sometimes things, like you said, things don't go that way, and I have this idea of how I wanted something to go, and then I am getting better at it. I didn't used to be very good. Like when things didn't go the way I wanted them to go, I used to go off the deep end. And it'd be something real small. It was like, I'm going to be there at 5:45, and I'm there at 6:20. I'm like, to me, that was a significant thing because I had already planned so many other things, and now the whole thing is like, it messed the whole plan up, and I was really, really bad with kind of coping with and dealing with those things.
Yeah.
But, I kind of fell back into like, okay, obviously I talked to my counselor a lot, and he kind of, brought up a lot of good points. He was like, look, man, you were in the military, things don't. How many times have you actually showed up to the range where you got to shoot when they said you was gonna shoot? I was like, never. You show up at damn 7 or 8, you ain't shooting till damn near 4, 5, and you like, damn, why the hell we gotta be here at 8? Why we gotta be here so early? But like, because I've gotten away from that, and obviously that's like hyperbole. It's like, it's not like always 7, but still like. Because I've gotten away from that, and I'm kind of like, I'm in the civilian sector now, I kind of expect things to go a little bit more how I want them to go. And, I've grown to kind of be more okay with things not going the way that I want them to go, because I'm kind of falling back on a prayer. I'm just like, which is like a double-edged sword, because I always pray for patience. And, when you pray for something, you usually get it.
Yeah.
But because I'm asking for it, I'm getting it, but now I'm getting situations that try that same patience that you just gave me. So it's kind of like,
well, you're not gonna know you have it unless you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so it kind of made me like, maybe I should stop asking for patience, man, because it seems like every time I pray for patience, the very next day the situation comes and tests that same patience, and I'm like, how do I know if I got it? I don't know if I got it yet, and it's like, well, did you go off the deep end? I'm like, well, no. Well, then you got it, and I'm like, you right, but I don't know if I want to. I don't always want to see if I got it. Sometimes like, let's just give me a piggy bank or something. Like, put it on like a cash card, and that way I swipe and see my account balance.
Yeah,
like, okay, I got $1,000 worth of patience left. But it don't work like that. You obviously, you either have it or you don't. And, just having dealt with a lot of situations in my life, I've had to learn how to have it, because it's easy to have unrealistic expectations, not only for yourself, but of others. And when those things aren't met, they tend to be met in like, with negativity, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's important, like, developing that patience so that when things kind of go amiss, you're like, okay, I can calm down. I can say, hey, you know what? It didn't work the way I wanted to, but, I can wait.
Yeah.
It's the package supposed to come at 1 o'clock at the latest. And I had scheduled, a haircut appointment for 1:45. But you got to get this package. Like, you need this package.
You need the package to get the haircut.
Yeah, like, you need the package, or like, you're not, nothing, everything else falls apart.
Yeah.
So then 1:30 rolls around, and you're like, okay, the barbershop is 15 minutes away. I have to leave right now, but the package ain't here.
Yeah.
So like, I've lost my patience. Now I'm upset. Now I'm mad. Now my day's gone amiss. So you gotta sometimes sit back and say, okay, you know what? I should have planned for this, because I think sometimes, like I said, you hope for the best and pray for the worst. I mean, plan for the worst.
Oh,
I'm saying,
I hope for the best, but I'm praying that it goes bad. I pray that. I wish a motherfucker would. Hold up now.
So it's like, okay, and plan for the worst. So it's like, you know what? I think that in developing that patience,
Yeah.
I think that we should start allotting ourselves, time in certain situations. So like, obviously you can't control everything, but when there are certain situations that you can't control, I think that it'll help build that patience if we say, okay, something was supposed to happen within this window. I'm gonna allot a whole hour for error.
Yeah.
Before I make another plan. So this whole hour, like something's supposed to happen at 1:00, I'm not gonna make any other plans until after 2. This way I've allotted myself an hour of error. Where it's like, if something goes wrong in that hour, now I have some time to move around.
Actually, I'm glad that you just said that, because you just made me think about something. So obviously, I moved. I just moved about 3, 4, I don't even know. A couple weeks ago, I moved. And so leading up to the move, I planned everything out. I'm like, okay. So I went and got my boxes. I linked up with my homegirl. She gave me the company like she uses to move. So I called the dude. I'm like, hey, man, will you move me? He's like, oh, yeah, what day? Day, time, place, location, everything's set. That's 3 weeks in advance. 2 weeks in advance. Hey, man, everything's still good? Yeah, everything's still good. 1 week in advance. Everything's still good? Everything's still good. 2 days before. Hey, man, everything's good? Everything's good. The day of my move. So I get my keys. I pack some stuff up in the car. I go get my keys. It's like 11. My move is scheduled for 12 because I have to be out of the apartment the same day. So I was like, hey, man, it's 11:30. Hey, I'm heading back to my apartment to meet you guys there. Everything good? I don't get no message. I get back to the apartment. It's 12. Nobody's there. So then I call. No answer. Okay. So about 12:30, 12:45, I call again. I'm like, okay, maybe they just got held up. 12:30, 12:45. He finally picks up the phone. I was like, hey, man, this is Jordan. Where you guys at? He was like, oh, hey, I'm going to have to call you back. Okay. So hangs up the phone. He don't say nothing to me. That was the last time I heard from him. 12:45. 3 o'clock? Now I'm like, oh, hey, look, I have to start making, I have to make a decision right now. I'm pissed. I am upset. I'm mad because I went and got something to eat. I was like, let me just chill. Maybe when I get back, they'll be there. It's 2:30. They're not there. So I then had to have another plan. So I had to call somebody else. And I was like, hey, can you do a same day move? Oh, yeah, we can do a same day move. But we got a premium price for that. So now I have to pay the premium price, which was probably 3 times more than I was going to pay initially. They came out, like, move went off seamlessly. They came, they moved all the stuff. Probably about five or so. The dude takes me back. Oh, hey, man, my tire, I got a flat tire. At this point, I didn't even say anything because I was like, if I say something to this dude, that little bit of patience that I had, I'm finna lose it because I'm finna tell this dude, like, hey, I need to know your address and where you're at right now because I'm finna have to pull up on your ass. Because you just cost me, for one, a lot of money that you could have saved me had you just been like, oh, hey, man, my tire went flat. I can't do it today. Okay, cool. I now know I can go get a U-Haul. I can call some people up. At 3 o'clock, I can't do that. Now my options were, hey, I only have one option. But that situation right there, as mad as I was, and I was this close to being like, hey, what's the name of the company? What's the address? Because I was this close to being like, hey, now I'm finna just pull up on this cat. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. Like, I need to pull up on you right because you got to see me because you cost me so much money that I got to see you now. And, like, who knows how that situation would have gone. Like, maybe police would have gotten called. I don't know. But in that moment, that's how upset I was. And I don't get mad very often. But I had to practice that patience. And I had to walk it off. I was like, I'm finna just go ahead and shit. I'm not even gonna respond to this. I'm gonna delete the number altogether. That way I'm not tempted to be like, hey, where you at? Hey, bro, where you at? Like, I'm just like, I just deleted it. But I felt proud of myself in that situation. So much so that I called my counselor like 2 days later and I was like, he's like, you got anything to report? I was like, I actually do. Like, I had a situation that didn't go my way and I was extremely upset about it. I'll even say mad. I don't get mad. But I actually got mad and this is the way I handled it. He was like, think you did a good thing. I was like, I know I did a good thing. I know I did because the way I was feeling was like this. But in that moment, I was at least able. I prayed for enough patience because, you know, I'm ready to break my foot off in somebody's ass. I'm like, hey man, when you cost me money, that resonates differently with me. I'm like, yeah, I got the money. It ain't even it's the principle behind the matter.
Well, see, I'm glad you did because I know that hits hard for you because, like, that's the Thanos gauntlet.
Yeah.
That's the upgraded
Man,
that was your upgraded Thanos gauntlet right there.
Moving costs enough money as it is, but I had to pay 3 times just to make sure that it went off.
I mean, with 3 times, you probably could have got the Thanos gauntlet and a sword.
Yeah.
So I know that hit hard. Like you lost memorabilia.
So that was upsetting, but at least I know for a fact that like my threshold is extremely high. Like I have a high tolerance for bullshit, not only because of being in the military and the situations that I've been through in life, but life in general has taught me that we only have control over so much.
Yeah.
You know, I can only control, and I haven't always been this way because I used to get really wrapped around the wheel with a lot of things.
Well, no, I don't remember hearing you bring that up. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, not until you started fooling around with Chester.
Yeah.
I think that's when you kind of got that concept of control what you can control.
Yeah.
Because if you don't and you lose patience and you fall off the handle, you're really hurting yourself.
Yeah. Because you just don't know how those situations will turn out, and like, you know, like there's just times where I think to myself like, if I go off the deep end, I don't know how deep that water is. Like I just don't know. I don't know how far I'll fall, and that's kind of what keeps me level. And like going to counseling has been the single greatest thing that helped me turn my whole life around. Like I was lost. Like a few years ago, I was lost. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where I was going. I was in a really bad place. But going to counseling and talking those things out, and having that person to kind of like be that coach, that really helped me. Like it literally helped me turn my life all the way around.
Yeah.
And you know, probably one of the biggest reasons I'm still alive now, you know, in conjunction with my son, is like because I decided to go to counseling. Had I not gone, like honestly, I don't even know if I'd still be here right now. Like I really do not know if I will be here. And you know, we go over this concept, you know, quite a bit of times. Like we always talk about patience, and we always talk about, you know, control and relinquishing that control and like taking that control back, and the idea of control, because I like to be in control, but I have to understand that I'm not in control of every situation. Like there are only certain things in situations that I have control over. Even if I feel like I'm in control of the whole situation, I'm not. Like there's elements in which you do control, but the situation as a whole you don't control. But you have to be okay with that, and like you have to understand what that means. And you know, he's helped me realize and kind of like put everything in perspective, and it's really helped me kind of, like I said, it literally has helped me turn my life around.
I think that's good, man. Like I think that as long as we're like leading with love,
yeah,
and we're like, and when I say love, like a lot of it just really, I mean, it might sound bad, but it's like loving yourself.
Yeah.
Because in the end, I think we're the ones that are going to be hurt the most.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to kind of love yourself. Right? Who was it? What I think it was Will Smith. I think it was Will Smith. I was listening to something he was saying about loving yourself. He's like, if I love myself, you start to do things like, man, I could eat that greasy double cheeseburger, but I mean, I really love myself, right? And I know that's not healthy for me. You know, I just went to the gym and I had a good set. Now, if I just eat this greasy cheeseburger, you know, is that really good for me? And if I do that, that's not good for me. Do I really love myself? And if I don't love myself,
what is this whole thing for?
Like, what do I, you know, I'm not taking care of myself. Like, so now what are we doing? So I think that's a good thing. Like, practicing that patience and knowing that when you practice that patience, it's a lot of times it might seem selfish, but it's for self-love.
Yeah.
Because I think before you can do anything, you have to love yourself. Like, you can't really fully function or love or give anyone anything until you've started to kind of look inside and bring that more inwards, right? Because it's like you can, but like you really can't truly give until you've given to yourself, right? You have to kind of take care of yourself, right? You can't be like, okay, I'm gonna do this and do that for you, but I'm not gonna take care of myself. It doesn't really work like that. So I think it's good, like I said, practice that patience, self-love, love yourself, take care of yourself, and realize that when you're holding back and when you're controlling your emotions, that is something that's beneficial for you.
And like I said, I'm doing a lot better than I initially started to do, and I had to understand that things just take time. Like nothing's gonna be fixed like that. Like things will take time, and maybe they didn't start off so great, but they over time they've gotten better. Like my relationship with my son's mom, a couple months ago it wasn't good at all. Like it just wasn't good. We weren't communicating well, and situation like things have changed. I don't know if it's because the situation has changed and the shoe is on the other foot. I don't know which one is to attribute more, but at the same time we didn't have a good relationship, but now like we're at least cordial now. We're able to talk more. Like she can say things to me and like I won't go. I'm like, oh, don't say that to me. I'm just cool with like she kind of jokes around sometimes and like I'm like, okay, well I'm okay with joking around. Like it doesn't bother me. Like I'm good with this. Like we really weren't communicating at all, and like I had a lot of resentment towards you, but I still have to realize that like me holding on to that doesn't help make me a better person. I'm never gonna forget the things that she did, but I'll at least forgive her, and I'll be patient with her, knowing that she's at a different part of her journey than I am. Maybe she's still working through some things on her end, and maybe she'll lash out, but I don't want to do those things because that's not the part of the journey that I'm in right now. But I have to understand that I'm in a different place than she's in. So we have different perceptions. We have different way that we take things.
Yeah, be patient and wait for every person.
I have to just understand and accept that and say I'm just going to continue to be patient. Even if you come at me with negativity, I'm like, okay, well, I don't have to get it back to you. I'm gonna just be patient with this. I'll let you kind of do your thing or whatever, and like whenever you're ready to talk, let me know. But I think patience is extremely important to have. Obviously, being in the military, I grew a pretty good tolerance for bullshit because that's pretty much what you do there. So I mean, it's helped prepare me for life on the outside and dealing with people and just in general. So I'm trying to be a little bit better every day and just be a little bit more patient, even though I need to stop asking for it because every time you ask for it, it gets tested. But
for y'all out there, patiently wait for the next episode.
Yeah. So y'all be patient. Wait for the next episode. We only got a few more episodes left before we end the season for a little hiatus.
Come back with the upgrade.
Yeah, but when we come bike, we're gonna come bike with this upgrade. I think people will like it. Hopefully we'll start doing a little bit more, maybe a little bit more interviews, more mobile stuff. I know some of y'all have reached out wanting to be a part of the episode. We hear what you guys are saying. We're going to try to do more. We're kind of working on time constraints and stuff like that, but as soon as we can, we'll try to incorporate a couple more people into it because I know people want to hear other perspectives as opposed to just this red hoodie and this black hoodie. But we're working on it though, so hold on. Just be patient, all right?
Absolutely.
All right, you guys take it easy. We'll talk to you next time.
All right, see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in with us today. Hopefully we were able to give you something you can use and take forward into your day. If you want to reach out to us with any questions, comments, concerns, or even topic requests, links are in the description. Join us back here again next week in the MadHouse. We appreciate you and where you are in your journey in life. And always remember, we're all quite mad here. You'll fit right in.